guest long before the body dies. The empty body is then inhabited by the demon until a death occurs. So their suffering begins long before they actually die. Because they are obviously generic, of course being named after Judas and those who are fully encased in ice, and as a result, not a sound is made. As there is no one to speak to, poets move quickly on to the scene. Virgil tells Dante that the banner of the King of Hell draws closer, meaning there is only one soul left to observe. When they reach the very centre, Dante is frozen to the spot and no words can be formed. In the very centre of hell, Satan is condemned for the worst acts of all, treachery against God himself. It's explained here that his name was once Lucifer, the fairest of the angels in heaven. His rebellion against God had led to him being cast from heaven and frozen in ice from the waist down. Dante struggles to comprehend how big Lucifer's being really is, only being able to see the upper ranges free from ice. What's more stunning than his size is the fact that he has three heads, one that is fiery red, one that is pale yellow, and one that is black. Underneath each head are a pair of backwards.
Listen to some Dante Inferno stuff. It's pretty cool shit.
These wings are also to ensure the lake stays frozen, so Satan and everybody else can never leave this prison. Satan himself cannot speak, but only cry and blubber into his mouth. Each mouth is also constantly chewing on a treacherous man. Marcus Junius Brutus and Gaius Cassius Longinus, two men responsible for the assassination of Julius Caesar, hang from the left and right mouths. In the centre mouth hangs Judas, punished for his betrayal of Jesus Christ. Yes. Judas suffered the worst punishment as he represented treason against the divine, whereas the others were guilty of treason against man. Virgil tells Dante that now is when they escape hell, by climbing down Lucifer himself, which makes no sense to Dante, as surely that would only take them deeper into hell. Virgil assures him that this is the only way, and so they climb down Satan's legs. Once they reach his genitalia, they pass through the centre of the universe. Virgil turns his body around and then starts climbing back up, which again makes no sense to Dante, as that's the way they just came from. As Dante follows Virgil, he's amazed to see everything is essentially upside down, and they are now climbing upwards. Virgil explains that essentially climbing out through the crater left by Lucifer when he crashed into the earth. They eventually climb out of hell on the morning of Easter Sunday, and before them is the river Lethe, which flows from the mountain of Earth. I'm sure you've gathered where Dante's journey will take him next. Unfortunately, that is a journey for another time. I hope you've enjoyed Dante's Inferno. If you'd like to see part 2 in Purgatory, then leave the video a like and let me know in the comment section. As always, I've been your host, Mythology and Fictionist.
This is a pretty cool shit. I always like this stuff. To learn what happens.
Previously on the Divine Comedy, Dante entered the gates of hell accompanied by his dark bird. Together they passed through the 9 circles of hell and escaped turning down. Dante's hell is divided into 9 circles, each one representing a specific sin. As you descend deeper, the crimes and punishments in theory worsen. Purgatory is divided into 9 or 10 levels depending on interpretation. The first 2 are known as anti-parties. The next 7 are known as the terraces, each terrace representing one of the 7 deadly sins or vices, which can only be cleansed with the 7 holy virtues. The last level is known as the earthly hell. On the morning of Easter Sunday, Dante and Virgil stand at the very bottom of the mountain. If you think Dante's descent from hell was a crazy journey, it's now time to begin our ascent of Mount Purgatory.
Good day.
Today's video has been made possible by the Great Courses Plus. If you enjoy learning new things, whether it's in the form
Oh man, that's a good ass mallet.
an online course, or even just an interesting documentary, then the Great
Nice.
Courses Plus is the streaming platform for you. Their extensive library of over 11,000 courses, lectures and documentaries means there is always something interesting to watch. The courses themselves are presented by
Leave me
Ivy League
alone, let me
professors
pick my
from all around the world,
nose.
with a wide range of topics from science, history and philosophy.
That ball's
to finance
amazing,
and
wow.
travel. There are no limits to how much you can watch.
The speed of it's really good.
available on pretty much every device. As you patiently wait for part 3 of the Divine Comedy to be released, you can watch the Divine Comedy lecture on the Great Courses Plus, which gives you over 12 hours of information and valuable context. If you'd like to try the Great Courses Plus for yourself, then visit thegreatcoursesplus.com/mythology. That's thegreatcoursesplus.com/mythology. Or you can click on the link in the description to start your free trial today. Before we begin, a brief explanation into the idea of purgatory itself may provide some context. The Bible doesn't really mention purgatory, at least not by name, but it does mention that one's punishment after death may not always be eternal. In some cases it may only be temporary. Once your debt has been repaid, there is hope of one day joining others in paradise. To explain as simply as possible, both hell and paradise are what Dante considers eternal remedies. Purgatory is different as it's the only realm that is not eternal. Those who come here may not be ready for hell or paradise. Instead, they are given the chance to cleanse their sins and grow as a person. When it's time for the last judgment, all the souls in purgatory will be sent to either hell or paradise, and the realm of purgatory will cease to exist entirely. At the base of the mountain, Dante and Virgil meet an old man named Cato, who guards the entrance. Naturally, he's hesitant to let them pass, not entirely sure how Dante and Virgil were able to escape from hell. Virgil explains the journey thus far, and how it would only be possible for them to escape if God himself allowed them to. Cato is persuaded that he allows them to pass, but only if Virgil wraps a reed around Dante and washes his face, a ritual many saw as representing a baptism. An interesting thing to note is that Cato is what we described before as a virtuous king who was placed in purgatory by God himself, which is rather strange, because not only could he be found in his first circle, he also committed suicide. I've seen many discussing the significance of Cato in purgatory, so why would Dante place Cato here in purgatory and not in hell? It could be because Cato was as patriotic as Dante and would do anything to defend Roman liberty. Or maybe Dante was just fond of Cato and decided he shouldn't suffer. In the first circle of hell, souls are ferried across the river by the boatman Carol, some of them crying and others with looks of worry and anguish on their face. Here they are ferried to the foot of the mountain by an angel, while singing songs of hope and joy. When they arrive at the shore, the angel disappears and the crowd gathers around Dante, realizing he's not actually dead. Luckily, Cato breaks up the crowd and orders them to disperse. The two stand at the base of the mountain, deciding how to begin their climb as more souls pass by. The first two sections of the mountain are known as anti-purgatory. The first slope is where they find the excommunicated, those who were excluded or exiled from the Christian church. The time they spent away from the church living in sin would be multiplied by 30. So if they spent even just 1 year excommunicated, they would have to remain here for 30. The most noticeable figure they meet here is Manfred, the last king of Sicily, Hilton's story of his death. During the Battle of Benevento, he suffered multiple fatal wounds. Whilst he lay in battle with God, he managed to repent for all of his sins. Unfortunately for Manfred, his opposition poked him at the fort at his body communicating with Arthur, which led to the belief that he was going to hell. Manfred then explained that he prays for the living which is one spends in purgatory. Naturally, he asked Dante to find his daughter when he returns, to let her know her father is not in hell but in purgatory. If she prays for him, he may reach paradise quicker. Before reaching the terraces, there is still one more part of anti-purgatory, for those who were too late or too lazy to repent. Many of these souls died before receiving the last rites, because they suffered a violent or unpredictable death. Dante comes across a group of souls laying in the shadow of a boulder and decides to have a conversation. The first man tells him he was betrayed when fleeing his hometown. The second man was fleeing a battle when he fell down a riverbed and died. After repenting, the man recalls an angel coming to collect him, but there was also a demon. They argued whether he was in hell or paradise, and that is why he now finds himself in purgatory. The last spirit was a woman named he had to. She tells Dante of her murder at the hands of her husband, who betrayed her and disregarded their wedding vows. She also attempts to convince Dante to pray for her once he returns to the living, because none of her family do so, and she would like to leave purgatory. Dante begins to notice how interested all the souls in purgatory are in himself, or more so the fact that he isn't dead, meaning he can pray for them and reduce the time they spend. The next song it performs from the same explains the rule of once the sun has set, the souls of purgatory are no longer they can go down if they wish to rest, but never go. You can look at the sun as an allegory for God, meaning these souls can only progress in repentance as it is getting late in the afternoon, they move on to the Sordello recommends that
Hell yeah, hatchet, fuck yeah.
As darkness engulfs the valley, the spirits sing hymns you would hear during night prayer in Christian churches.
Oh, Cold Killer's
Sordello shows
amazing.
them the various kings and rulers who reside here, making those of Emperor Rudolph, the only soul who
Look how fast it is. 40 of just
He
damage.
also regards him as the one ruler who
30
could have
increased
restored
speed, could be a little more
Italy to its
damage.
former glory, but he failed.
10% chance to do
That's
that's
why he finds
amazing.
himself here. As the night goes on, the spirits here do not tire, as they do not possess a human body. Dante, however, does, and so he must sleep. In his dream, Dante sees a golden eagle soaring through the sky.
Sweet.
It swoops down and grabs Dante, and while they fly through the air, they begin to burn. This was enough for Dante to wake from his dream. Virgil explains that they are now at the gates of purgatory. Whilst Dante dreamt, he was carried to the gates by a woman to Saint Lucia or Saint Lucy. In front of them is the gate, the door to purgatory proper. Before the gate there are 3 steps, each one a different colour. One is a polished white marble, so bright Dante can see himself in the reflection. This represents the purity of one's soul. The next stone is cracked and much darker, either black or purple in the shape of a box, which represents the act. The last stone is red, which represents the blood of Christ, restoration and beginning. At the top of these steps there is an angel guarding the entrance wielding a large sword. An angel who shines so bright it's difficult for Dante to even look at it. Virgil explains they have been guided upon this path by Saint Lucy. He urges Dante to step forward and ask the angel to let him pass. Dante opts for a more dramatic approach. As he climbs the steps, he falls to his knees at the feet of the angel and begs for entry into purgatory. Looking down at Dante, the angel takes the point of his sword and carves the letter P into Dante's forehead 7 times. The P meaning peccatum, the Latin for sin. He tells Dante he will wash these wounds away. As he travels through the 7 terraces, Each time he has successfully washed away the sins of a terrace, one letter will disappear. The last piece of advice they are given is to cleanse themselves of their sins and never look back or dwell on the past, as they may struggle to move on to the next terrace. With the gates closing behind them, the poets are left to climb the 7 terraces, each one representing one of the 7 deadly sins: pride, envy, wrath, sloth, avarice, gluttony, and lust. The sins we saw in Inferno were based on physical actions. In Purgatory, the focus is on self-improvement, and so the sins are emotional and psychological. The first terrace represents the sin of pride. As they enter, Dante notices beautiful sculptures surrounding him which represented humility, the virtue considered the opposite of pride. These images were individuals who were considered classic examples of humility, such as the Virgin Mary and the angel Gabriel. Virgil pulls Dante away from the beautiful sculptures and paintings, because in front of them are the prideful souls who can guide them to the next terrace. These souls are barely visible as they are hunched over, forced to carry enormous weights on their back. They ask the man before them if he can help them travel along the mountain. The man physically cannot look upwards, but he tells them he will offer his assistance. His name is Umberto, a man who is so proud of his name. His arrogance caused himself and his family much pain, but now he is slowly melting and humbling. Ahead of him is another man, Oderisi, a once famous artist who was replaced by a much younger artist. He now understands that in the bigger picture, human fame means nothing. Success and fame are fleeting. As Dante talks to these souls, he finds himself bending down to see their faces. In doing so, he is imitating their suffering and starting his own cleansing process. As they continue on, Dante realizes that pride is a sin he has been guilty of. His self-awareness is another sign of self-improvement. When he looks down, he sees several hideous statues and carvings. Lucifer falling from the heavens, Arachne who was turned into a spider, and Briareus, a giant impaled on thunder. These figures all represent the acts of succumbing to pride or one's ego. As he witnesses more, Dante remembers instances where his own pride has clouded his judgment. Agreeing to pray for the souls in this terrace, they show him the path he must follow. When they arrive, standing before them is the angel of futility. He takes them to the stairway that leads to the next terrace, and acknowledges that Dante's prideful sins have been absolved.
Good to see you.
one of which tells him he was jealous of his neighbour's happiness, and his envy only grew as time went on. As they continue, Dante hears the booming of several different voices. These are the envious who are punished, serving as examples for the rest of the souls on earth. Some examples given were Cain, who was jealous of his brother, and Aglarus, who was turned into stone because she was jealous of Hermes' love to her sister. In order to pass
Well, I
through
think
this
that's it
test,
for right
Dante
now.
and Virgil must walk where the sun shines bright.
I haven't
And as
talked
they
that
do,
much.
they
I think it's
are
really
blinded,
interesting.
mimicking the punishment of
I'm at about
those in
20
these
minutes.
terrors. Virgil
And I'm
explains
getting
that
tired.
Dante
I
should
just want to
not
do some
fear
magic
his
fighting.
art, because it is
Didn't really
no
find anything
more
good besides a cold killer, which is good for low level,
The
like
angel of
30s,
charity
30s or
Brimstone
early 20s.
brushes away another sin from Dante's forehead, inviting them to move on.
Yeah,
As the
be a
poets
person
enter a
listen to
terrace
is
of rock,
myth
the
and
blinding sunlight is
fictional.
still apparent. Dante
Mythical
is
and
then greeted by
fictional
several
kaya
visions,
game mode.
examples of meekness and wrath. The first vision
He's
is
really
an
good,
18-year-old
actually. I really enjoy his
woman
stuff.
reprimanding a young boy. This is meant to represent
I'll see you guys
similar
later, and
story
hopefully you
featuring
guys
the
like
Virgin
and subscribe and all
Mary
that.
and a young
I'm gonna end
Jesus
up being
Christ.
back on
The
probably
next vision is the
tomorrow.
wife of the king
I'll